Have you ever asked yourself questions, or maybe a question, and you've either not liked the answer you were given, or you're not getting answers to the questions that you're asking? I'm going to raise both hands because I can tell you that has been something that in my past used to happen quite frequently. It still happens. This is a process, right? We get to catch ourselves. We're going to dive into what it is behind the asking questions and why it's so important. And I laugh when I say why, and you'll find out in just a minute why it's so important to really hone in on this skill. I am Angela W. Stillwell. I'm the CEO and founder of Untapped Strengths, and I work with individuals just like you to transform you into top 1% leaders, and I work with teams to transform you into powerhouses. All right, so what is this deal with asking questions and not getting answers? There's a lot to this, first of all. And you often hear, little kids, and maybe you had kids. I didn't have children. I have had nieces and nephews. And, I can remember myself and I have always been this curious person who's often asking a lot of questions about things because I want to better understand, right? So with children, they're inquisitive, they're learning, they're asking questions, and as parents or as adults or teachers or whatever, it can get frustrating when we're hearing these questions over and over and over. And yet we do this to ourselves all the time. We're constantly on a subconscious level, on an automatic level, we're asking questions that just aren't answerable. They're just not. Tony Robbins says, if you want to change your situation or your life, this is not a direct quote, but he says, if you want to change your situation or your life, then you get to ask better questions about your situation and about your life, right? And this applies to everything. There's an art and a science to asking better questions. So often our questions come from a negative energy standpoint. Why is this happening to me? How come so-and-so did X, Y, Z? There can be negativity or fear. Oftentimes it's fear. And when you're coming at something from a place of fear, then you're going to get more fear as a result. If you're letting fear drive your questions, or you're letting anger drive your questions, or you're letting judgment drive your questions, then what you're going to get in return is more fear, more anger, more judgment. So when you catch yourself asking questions, you get to do a bit of an adjustment, right? You get to really make sure that you're coming at the question from a place where you want to feel after you get the answer. There's difficult questions in life. There just are. And some things we are never going to have an answer to on this side of heaven. It's just not going to happen. However, we do have the power, and we've been given the authority to create our environment, to not control our environment, but to what's the word I'm looking for? To influence our environment. You get to influence the environment around you regularly. And you can do that in a lot of different ways. You do that from an energetic standpoint. You do that from asking better questions standpoint, and many other things, right? So what you get to do when you find yourself not getting the answers that you're looking for, you get to take a step back and say, okay, how am I contributing to this lack of answers that I so desire in my life? What am I contributing to it? As a leader, we get to learn to step more into our power and our influence by owning what we are contributing to a situation. That's self-leadership. And asking better questions is part of that self-leadership process. I think it was last week I was talking about asking the what if questions. And, I have a whole group that is focused on this very aspect of our leadership, asking questions. The name of the group is called What If? Because so often we're asking what if questions from this place of fear. We're asking why questions from a place of fear. We're asking how questions from a place of fear. Maybe you're building a business. Maybe you have a business and you're working on a new offer and things come up in your head. Or maybe you're running a team and you're asking questions like, well, how am I going to do X, Y, Z? How am I going to build that funnel? How am I going to run a business and be a mom? How am I going to run a business and train for the marathon that I'm wanting to run before I turn 50? How am I going to listen? Those are questions that you're not going to get answers to when you're coming at it from a place of fear. It's just not. Fear is not something that can help you. There's a time and place for fear, and that's when the saber-toothed tiger is literally chasing you, not imagination, not in your imagination, but literally there's a saber-toothed tiger running behind you, or someone with a knife, or what you get what I'm saying, right? When we let fear, was it Mark Twain? I think it was Mark Twain that said something like, there've been a lot of bad things happen in my life. Fortunately, only a few of them have come true. And what he's talking about is this worry aspect, this fear aspect. Are you a worrier? Worrier? That's a hard word to say. Are you filled with fear? Are you coming at your day from a place of fear? How am I going to pay my bills? Look, I get it. That those are real concerns. I'm not saying that you don't have those concerns. I'm saying that when those things drive you day in and day out, you're not going to like the answers that you get. You're not going to like and appreciate the results that you get. So you get to ask a better question. What if instead of coming at it from a fear-based place, you said, okay, here's where I am, right here, right now. Take ownership of it. This is what leadership is about, particularly self-leadership. It's also about leading other people. This is where it starts. Here's where we are right here, right now. Here's what can happen right here, right now. The rest of it, I get to put aside. I can put a plan together. I can work that plan. And for right now, I get to focus on the here and the now. Because this right here, right now is all there is. There's not a yesterday. There's not a tomorrow. There's not even an afternoon or an evening, unless you're already in the afternoon and evening when you're watching this, right? There's just right here, right now. So when we embrace that place, this isn't saying that you don't plan for the future and that you don't think about envisioning, because in the Bible it says, where there is no vision, the people perish. You get to have a vision. Having a vision drive you is super important. Super important. You get to really spend time occasionally thinking about and regularly, not just occasionally, but regularly think about what is your vision for your life? Is your vision to be driven by fear? If it is, then good for you. You're doing a great job. If it isn't, then you get to take authority over that fear right now by focusing here and now and learning to ask better questions. I have read several books specifically about asking better questions. In fact, one of them, I think the name of it is QBQ, Question Before the Question. Because there's always a question before the question, right? So if I'm saying, what if I can't pay my bills? What's the question before that? There's a fear that's driving that. right? The question before that is, it's going to be different for everybody, right? What if I can't pay my bills? Or what's the question before that? What do I get to do so that I can? What's the question before that? Well, there's a lot of them. It's interesting when I came up through the corporate world and then went on to financial planning practice, and a lot of the training that I had back then was in asking clients better questions. Funny, I didn't take it in for myself. However, in asking clients better questions, it was something that you ask them a question, they give an answer. You ask them the question, why is that important? They give an answer. Okay. And why is that important to you? And they give an answer. And then you ask, why is that important to you? Let's give I want to give you an example. Someone says they want to lose weight. Okay. Why do you want to lose weight? What's important to you about losing weight? Well, I want to feel better. I want to fit in my clothes better. Okay. What is it about fitting in your clothes and feeling better that's important to you? Well, I'll have more confidence if I feel better in my clothes. Or I'll be able to walk my dogs more if I can move better. Or I'll be able to spend more time and keep up with my grandchildren. Okay. And what is it about walking your dogs that's important to you? Or what is it about spending time with your grandchildren that's important to you? You see what I'm doing? You're asking layers of question. There's a question before the question before the question. It sounds like it's the question after the question, but it's not. It's getting through the layers of the questions that you're asking so that you can get to what the true source is. Because it's that true source of your question that's super important. Does that make sense? So when you're asking yourself questions, and look, our automatic brain, our subconscious brain is great at driving from a place of fear. It just is. And the reason is that it's all about survival. It's all about, really the whole purpose of our subconscious brain is to live for today so that we can procreate. Even though you may not be able to procreate anymore, that's what the subconscious brain is still thinking about. Okay. So it doesn't really care about tomorrow. It doesn't care about yesterday. It cares about in this moment right now. And is it in a place of fear or not? In the vast majority of time, your subconscious brain, unless you take authority over it, unless you take control of it, and look, you can't take control of it 100% of the time. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you get to start recognizing the thoughts and the questions that you're asking so that you can ask better questions, so that you can get better results, so that you can change your life, so that you can change your situation. I was talking about, that having all of that training from my corporate background, and I'd use this stuff on myself, right? I'd done a lot of personal development work and all of that. And when this really started shifting for me was after I went through my divorce. Because that was such a turning point in my life. Of course, it was a big turning point, right? And I thought, man, what do I get to do so that I'm not in this place again? What do I get to do so that I can create the relationship of my dreams, so that I can create the life I've always dreamed of? Now, was I asking that initially? Of course not. Not when I'm in the middle of everything. Once everything calmed down, though, and I started doing more and more work and diving deeper and deeper, and that's an episode for another day because I went through a lot of things that I would not recommend people going through. However, I learned a lot about myself in that process. You can learn a lot about yourself without going through the process that I went through. And that's what I help my clients do. Shortcut all of that so that you're not shortchanging yourself, right? What I learned along the way was to ask better questions. Make sure that I'm coming at whatever result I'm looking for from a place of positive energy as opposed to fearful energy, right? And when I'm saying positive and fearful energy, how are you feeling? What's happening in your body? You guys, this is a complete body experience. This is not just a mind experience. Your vagus nerve is impacted. Your neurochemicals are impacted. Your hormones are impacted. This is a whole body experience, which then all of that then impacts your muscles and everything else going on in and with your body. It's all impacted. So being able to ask better questions is powerful from every aspect of your life. So powerful. And that's why I created the group What If? Because I want people to be able to ask questions from this better place so that then you can create the life you want. And regardless of where you are in life, there's always another level. Maybe you feel like you've already achieved everything. Guess what? You're still breathing. You still have purpose. You still have another level you get to go to. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you've already accomplished. There's always another level. I'd love to have you inside the group. To get into the group, What If? It's a free group. This is a free group. Just give me a comment below or to the side or wherever it is on the screen, right? Or you can send me a DM on Instagram or LinkedIn, or even send me a DM on Facebook and let me know that you want more information about the group or that you want in the group. I would love to have you in the group. We're just kicking it off. There's a great group of people already in there and we're just getting things going. You guys, this work is so important. Being able to ask a better question of yourself and when you're having conversations with other people, learning how to ask a better question of yourself first so that then you can have that power over how you're feeling, that authority over how you're feeling and the results that you're getting, then allows you to influence and assist other people as well. All right. I can't wait to see you inside the group. I can't wait to get your DMs. I can't wait to see your comments. Thank you so much for joining me today. And I will see you next week on the weekly live show. Bye.